If you have a dozen story ideas, but don't know which one to write, or you're afraid of choosing the wrong idea, this video will help give you clarity. Here's the good news. You don't need a unique, never been done before idea. A good sweet romance idea isn't about being unique, it's about being emotionally satisfying for your readers. Sweet romance readers don't read for novelty. They read for comfort, connection, relatable characters, favorite tropes, and a happy ending where the character experiences a satisfying emotional transformation. Hello, storytellers. I'm Lorna Faith. I write in many different genres of fiction, and I also write sweet romance books with my pen name, Melody Archer. I enjoy helping beginner writers who want to write sweet romance stories that connect deeply with readers. You might be thinking, I have no story ideas. I don't know how to come up with a story idea that readers will love. Your thoughts might be turning round and round like a hamster wheel in your brain right about now, of all the reasons why you couldn't come up with a sweet romance story idea that your readers would love to read. But I'm here to tell you that you can do this. There's no right and wrong. Sometimes we just need to reframe it to get our thoughts headed in the right direction when it comes to story ideas. And many times, part of that reframing is to ask some very specific questions. So, as an example, ask yourself, what is the kind of book you would like to read? What is the book idea that makes you happy just thinking about it? Maybe it's a book you wish someone had written that you would absolutely love to read. But the problem is, maybe when you go to the bookstore or look on digital retailers online, you can't find it. This is exactly the kind of sweet romance you should write. In this video, I'll share tips on how to choose a sweet romance story idea that readers actually want to read. And this is from my, a few years of writing sweet romance. Many sweet romance readers reply to me in emails, talking about they like this or they don't like that. This is from my own experience of listening to sweet romance readers and also from book reviews of what readers have actually said. So I hope these tips are helpful. Today I thought I would share with you 5 tips on how to choose a sweet romance story that readers will love to read. Tip number 1, the big mistake beginners make. Most beginning writers think their story idea has to be completely original. And I really believe that belief stops more writers than anything else. We're afraid of getting it wrong, and this was definitely me. Just always afraid of making mistakes and doing it wrong, and what if I do all this work and nobody will read the book? Now, of course, that's not guaranteed, I guess, at the end of it. But I really believe if you follow the simple steps, there will be a lot of readers who will be interested in reading your sweet romance book. So here are some ideas on what sweet romance readers are looking for, sent to me from sweet romance readers of my own books. They want familiar tropes with unique ideas written in your author voice, because you have a unique way of writing. You have a unique filter because you've had a different life that you've lived as an author. And so you have a different filter, you have a different way of saying things. And so there will be different readers that will be attracted to your books, which is quite exciting. This is why writing books is actually a very unique and creative process, and it's a very wonderful thing. So another idea, readers want familiar emotional arcs. For example, they want characters to face setbacks, but to overcome obstacles and find love and happiness in the end. Readers also want familiar happy endings with fresh ideas written by you in your unique author voice. What they want is a fresh emotional experience, but not necessarily a brand new concept. So if your idea sounds simple or familiar, that's actually a really good sign, because you'll find that sweet romance readers actually, there are some things they want to be familiar. They like familiar tropes, for example, that are their favorites. So the idea that your sweet romance would be simple or familiar is actually a good thing. Tip number 2, what sweet romance readers are really looking for, and this is again based on emails I've gotten from sweet romance readers of my own books, they are looking for a relatable main character with fears and flaws and wounds. They're looking for emotional growth without cruelty or graphic scenes. They're looking for romantic tension, but not chaos. And they're looking for a love story that feels safe and hopeful, with an ending where the characters have overcome fears, wounds, and their hearts have been transformed. So sweet romance is not really about shock value or high drama or angst for the sake of angst. So, it's not really a thriller, so it's not shocking. But I've discovered from my own books that I really like a little bit of mystery. So depending on what your subgenre is, and maybe you want to write a sweet romance, comedy, which would be like a rom-com. There's readers that love rom-com. Many readers love romantic comedy. Or maybe you're wanting to write mystery or suspense, which is, I tend to write that. I can't seem to help myself. There has to be mystery and suspense. But you'll find readers that really love that. They love putting together the puzzle pieces, which is, really what a mystery is, right? You're trying to figure out the puzzle as you're reading, and there's a lot of readers that really love that. And so I encourage you to find what you love to write. Sweet romance readers are looking for 2 characters who are transforming from wounds, fears, and flaws into braver and kinder people, where their wounded hearts have become whole again because of love. So if your story idea creates those emotions, there will be many readers who will want to read it. Tip number 3, the 3 questions that make an idea reader ready. When you're choosing between story ideas, ask these 3 questions. First question, can I describe this story in one clear sentence? It's possible that if you can't explain it simply, it's not quite ready. For example, here's an idea of describing the story. You could say, this is a sweet romance about a woman returning to her hometown who overcomes her fear of being unworthy of love, which were lessons learned from a painful past, to learning to trust love again. And so this would help to bring clarity on what the character's fears are. It kind of gives you a hint of what the character's transformation will be by the end of the story. So these are ideas on what your one sentence might be to help you gain clarity. Getting clear on your story, really, it beats complexity every time. Second question, is the emotional journey clear? So ask yourself, where does the character start emotionally? Are they fearful of being abandoned? Are they fearful of being rejected? Where have they started emotionally? And then where do they end emotionally? So if they were, fearful of being abandoned and a painful past, some guy just suddenly up and left, maybe this is the transformation that they need to reach by the climax of the story, where they're going to be vulnerable and have an aha moment that, oh yes, this guy's actually going to stay, and I'm going to learn to trust again. And so you don't need all the plot details, just a map to follow. And if your character grows from guarded to open, or from lonely to loved, then you're on the right track when you're writing a sweet romance. And the third question to ask yourself, does this idea promise comfort and hope? I've learned that sweet romance readers want heartwarming and familiar feelings. They want familiar tropes that they love, and they are very interested in a sweet romance love story that leaves them emotionally satisfied. So if your idea promises that feeling, it's a strong choice, even if it feels quite simple. And tip number 4, how to choose between multiple ideas. So if you have been writing down your ideas in a notebook, which is a really great idea, it just really helps to get it all written down on paper. I always do that. I always write a notebook before I start a book, because I often use Scrivener to write. But I will write it in a notebook. My story ideas, I'll write their flaws, their wounds, their fears. I focus on the main characters first. And then once I get inside their heads, oh, this is who they actually are, this is their backstory and all of that, then the ideas for the actual story will come to me, and make it clearer. So I encourage you to write it down, just physically with a pencil or a pen in a notebook. As you've written down your ideas, choose the idea that feels right for you and makes you excited to write. It actually comes through on the page. It sounds strange maybe, but it comes through to the reader on the page. They can sense, I just really believe that, they can sense if the writer is excited to write the story, if they have a passion to write the story. Sometimes in my mind, I visualize this chord that comes out from our heart and reaches to a reader's heart. Sometimes this is what comes to me, and I think, oh, okay, so this is what they're connecting. They're connecting with me, the author, and the same is for you as the author. They're connecting with you on a heart level, from author to reader. I really believe that. And so choose the idea that feels right for you and makes you feel excited. And then choose the idea that you would enjoy spending time writing, which includes components that readers really love, like a great hook, compelling characters, intriguing settings, and maybe some interesting or witty dialogue, but always in your own author's voice, because readers will come back because you have a unique way of writing. I have many emails where readers have said that, and I just really believe that that's true. Readers will love it. And then choose ideas that have your favorite tropes. You'll find best-selling books or movies are really just a different way of showcasing your favorite tropes in a new way. So make a list of the tropes and study them, and then find ways to breathe your own creativity into them. Some examples of tropes are, fish out of water, unexpected heiress. Maybe she suddenly inherited a lot of money and she was like a poor girl. A billionaire, that's a trope. Fairy tale retellings, enemies to lovers. In a sweet romance, we might say enemies to more. Childhood friends to more. A marriage of convenience. Secret identity. Forced proximity. And there's many other tropes, but those are some ideas. So write down some of your favorite tropes, what you like to read, and I think that you'll find that helps you to get excited, and will help to reveal story ideas as you write them down in your notebook. When you watch movies or read a romance, write down all the moments that you love. What parts get you excited? What parts do you go back to and reread or rewatch? Or maybe you read the book again and say, oh, I know I'm getting to my favorite part now. Well, I would encourage you to write down why that's your favorite part in the book, or why that's your favorite part in the movie. There must be certain elements that you love about it that make you excited to get to that part. And so write that down. I encourage you to do that. You'll find that really helpful as you start to write your sweet romance. Another part that's important, choose the idea that you could explain to a friend and be excited to tell that story. And again, we're back to having a passion to write that particular story. And I encourage you not to choose the idea because, you think it sounds impressive, or you're afraid maybe another idea is too simple. Sometimes simple ideas are some of the best ideas. Simple stories finish. It's the complicated ones where an author can stall out and, sometimes not even want to finish the story. So I encourage you just to choose the idea that you're passionate to write. And then tip number 5, Permission to start without knowing everything. Here's something I believe that every sweet romance writer needs to hear. You do not need to know the entire story before you begin. In fact, when I first started writing, I thought I actually needed to know the whole thing. Like I had to have the whole thing outlined and done in proper sequence in order to start writing the book. But that's actually not true. You can just write a quick sketch of the idea, and I'll talk about that actually in next week's video. You can have just a quick, 4 or 5 steps that would lead you to the end of the book, and that already will give you a good picture, an overall picture of the story. And to me, some of the funnest parts of writing is, you dive into the first chapter, the first scene. It's like this time of wonder. You're stepping into the story and you're just thinking, I wonder what's going to happen next. You're on this quest where you actually don't know necessarily where it's taking you, but it's quite exciting. Anyway, I just encourage you to, this is my process, and yours does not have to be the same. But I encourage you to try just to start writing. Don't worry about mistakes, because the beautiful thing about writing is go back and revise and re-edit, take out a sentence here, add a sentence there. This is the beautiful thing about writing. So don't worry about making mistakes. Just start, just begin. So I really believe there's only a few things you really need. The ordinary world of your main protagonist, the hero or the heroine's love interest, which is your other main character in this sweet romance. You need to understand the backstory of both of your characters, their fears, their wounds, and emotional struggles, which often will stem somewhat from their childhood. There's going, or some kind of painful past. Often this is where the fears and the wounds and the emotional struggles come from. And then understand how each character will transform and overcome fears and find love by the end of the story. If you understand, maybe not completely, but have a really good overview of those 3 things, then the rest of the story will come as you write. I really believe that. I just really encourage you to try. Just start. Was my biggest mistake is I analyzed and overthought everything when I first started writing. Over the years, I have learned to let go a little bit more and not worry so much about the mistakes, but to realize and to remember that, I can take out this complete paragraph. I can take out this scene, and if I need to replace it with a different scene, that's fine. This is the beauty of writing. And so I just encourage you to do that, to feel that freedom as you write. That is really what I wanted to share with you today, those 5 tips. If you found this video helpful, I've created a Sweet Romance Starter Pack PDF bundle to help you write your first sweet romance with confidence. These are beginner-friendly worksheets and printable PDFs that will walk you through choosing and clarifying your story idea step by step without overwhelm. You can find the free digital bundle below this video. Simply click the link in the description below and it will come to your email inbox. In the next video, we'll talk about how to turn that idea into a plot with simple steps to help you brainstorm your new sweet romance story quickly. Remember, your story is valuable and there are readers waiting to read it. So let's get your sweet romance story written and put it out into the world. Hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.